India may need as much as $22.7 trillion by 2070 to achieve its net zero goals. But experts warn that the country faces a massive financing shortfall. A new report by the Climate and Sustainability Initiative and NSE says unlocking capital from pension funds, insurance companies and mutual funds could be critical to financing India's green transition. Our principal correspondent Disha Yadav with a ground report.
India's transition to a green economy will require unprecedented levels of investment. A new report estimates that India will need between $10 and $22 trillion in green investments over the coming decades, covering renewable energy, transmission networks, battery storage, clean transport, low-carbon industries and energy-efficient buildings. The report estimates that India's cumulative investment requirement for net zero could reach $22.7 trillion by 2070, with a financing shortfall of nearly $6.5 trillion. The power sector alone accounts for over half of the requirement, needing $4.3 trillion by 2050, with a financing gap of nearly $2 trillion. Currently, green projects rely heavily on banks and foreign investors, but the report highlights that domestic institutional investors, including insurers, pension funds and mutual funds, collectively manage around $2.1 trillion in assets. Experts estimate these investors alone could contribute nearly $1.2 trillion or about 15% of India's green finance requirement between 2026 and 2050.
Right now, when we say institutions, they include pension fund, mutual funds and insurers. So they are long-term investors and they are holding capital for the retailers or the public. So they have investment preference, and their investment preference is that they can take low risk, very low risk. So right now many new green projects are riskier and they don't fall in the ambit of their investments.
Institutional investors remain cautious due to policy uncertainty, project risks and limited avenues for investment. The report recommends instruments such as Green InvITs, Green REITs, securitization, blended finance, credit guarantees and performance insurance to reduce risk and attract long-term capital. Experts say lowering perceived risks and creating investable green assets will be key to unlocking institutional money.
Two areas that I would focus on. The first is a strong recommendation made in the report that we do need to come out with a good taxonomy for all of these instruments and increase the proportion of allocations that are made for the institutions to invest into. Green instruments, for instance, for pension funds and insurance companies. I think the report suggests could be at least 1 or 2% of the allocation. That would be important.
Biggest thing we require and the need of the hour is the climate finance taxonomy that everyone is awaiting for, because our green equity framework and so many other instruments are allied and are waiting towards, like, once the climate finance taxonomy will roll out, we will have all those things incorporated, all those new products which capital market is also been crafting and are, you can say, in the wait list because of the climate finance taxonomy.
While institutional investors alone cannot bridge India's entire green finance gap, the report says their participation could significantly reduce the funding burden and help accelerate investments in renewable energy, clean transport and sustainable infrastructure.
Despite the daunting numbers, investors are optimistic about India's green growth story. The report also suggests that with the right policy support and risk mitigation tools, institutional capital could become one of the driver of the country's clean energy transition. With video journalist Srinivas, this is Disha reporting here for WION from Mumbai.